Hi everybody, my name is Jaylen, and today I'll be showing you how to be using my Tween module. So first things first, we're going to be talking about the function. So first, what we're going to do is require the Tween module, which is going to be Tween module require, and since we have it in replicated storage, we're going to do game.replicatedStorage.TweenModule. And then now, first thing we're going to do, we're going to learn about the move function. All right, so let's get started with TweenModule.Move. So what we're going to do is find the part that we want to use. For me, in this instance, it's going to be a part named PlaceByFalls. So in order to use that part, we're going to do workspace.PlaceByFalls because it is the parent of this part is workspace. So we need to identify workspace first, and then the child, which is the PlaceByFalls. So now we're going to do identify the TweenInfo, which is TweenInfo.new. 3 seconds. Let's have it as sign. Let's do a async direction of out. And that's pretty much it for that. And then for movement, let's do cframe.new. And I want to move it up by 30 studs. So let's do that. And then if it's by pivot, for now, I'm just gonna have this set for true, and I'll teach you all about that later. All right, now since we're waiting 4 seconds and we're gonna see it go up. And as you can see, it went up really fast with 4 seconds. So yeah. So one of the parameters I'm going to teach you about is by pivot. So with by pivot, you can do anything with just going to the model and clicking on the pivot button, and then you'll see this little like interface of like the arrows and the rotations. The green represents the Y, the blue represents the Z, and the red represents the X axis. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rotate the part on its Z axis. So let's do it like this. I'm gonna rotate it to whatever number. I'm so sorry if you guys have OCD. I'm just gonna do it like this. So now, if I run it, it's gonna move in a whole different angle. And as you can see, it's moving towards this way. And you can also see how like there's a gap because of my rotation. And yeah, so but if you want it to move not based on pivot, just set this to false. And you could also keep this empty. It will automatically put it to false automatically. So now if we run it, regardless of its pivot, it's still gonna move up. And that's all for the move function. Next, what we're going to learn is rotate. So with rotate, we're going to do TweenModule.Rotate. And for these parameters, you're going to use target, TweenInfo, and the rotation, and that's also by pivot. So of course, we got to identify a target, which is going to be PlaceByFalls. We're going to do TweenInfo.new. 2 seconds, and then that async style. Let's just do elastic, and let's also, I'll also do in out for direction. Now for rotation, vector 3 is the most required one to use for this one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have it rotate on the y-axis by 30, and then I'm gonna keep by pivot on by true. Before I start on that, I will be resetting my pivot because I was already using it. So now, if I run it, it's going to run by pivot, but since the pivot is reset, it's basically like somewhat the world. And you see how it turned a little like that. So then now, what I'm going to do is to show you how to use by pivot again, because again, the parameters allow, if it's true, it's gonna be moving by its pivot. So if I rotate this to its 100-degree, and if I also like, mess around with it, why not? Let's do it like that. If I run it again, we're gonna see how it's gonna be rotated. And as you can see, it rotated in a weird, obscure way, but that's because I moved the pivot. And again, if you don't want it to be moved by its pivot, just set it to false. And you'll have a tween of a rotation that isn't moving by its pivot, and it'll move exactly the same. Next, I'll teach you is color. But with this is very special with color. We could do many things with this one. So let's make sure that we have everything to set. All right. So now what we're gonna do, I'm not gonna delete everything because we already have our object that we want to do. We have the TweenInfo, and then now what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna remove both of these parameters. And I'm going to teach you about the singular parameter, which is color 2. Color 2 will be the color it will be changed to. So, for example, that color is supported with hex color 3, or even also the Roblox brick color. So first, what I'm going to do, we're gonna do brick color first. So if I want to change the brick color to the green one, and if I run it, we're gonna see that the part is going to get changed to the brick color green that is automatically set on Roblox. We could also like do it like brick color.new, and then if we want the ones that are in the parts, like let's do persimmon. So if we do persimmon and then run it, we're gonna see the color of this part get changed to the brick color persimmon. And if we click on it, we can also see right here that it got changed to the color of persimmon, and it says it identified here as well. And we also support color 3, which is obviously used in many other functions, other like stuff we use for our parts, Sweeney as well. So I won't go over that. I will be going over hexadecimals. Well, not hexadecimals, but hex colors. And in order to do this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in my browser here, and we're going to look up hex color picker. And we're going to make some random color. Let's do a cute, let's do like a light lavender. And then I'm just going to copy the hex right here. And then I will be pasting it in this quotation mark. So then now if I run it, what it's going to do, it's going to change to the color I chose. And as you can see, it's a lavender color. And you won't see that it got changed to a hex code because the Tween module will calculate what is the hex being translated to in that color. So it could change it to a color 3. So yeah. And that is all for color. Next one we'll be doing is scaling. However, what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate a part. Oh, that is the pivot. I'm so sorry. Let's unequip that. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate a part. I'm going to make another one actually. And then what I'm going to also do is also just change the pivot on both of these because these are messed up. Actually, I'll change it for all of them. Reset. All right. So now the pivots should be good. And now let's lay them flat on the ground. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to group this, name this model. And we're gonna have this one right here. Let's make sure we know the differences. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the color to sky blue for both of them. So I'm just gonna copy this, do this. All right. And then now we have this one here. So for scaling, what we're gonna do, we're gonna first identify the part, which is workspace.placeByForAlls. And then let's do the TweenInfo. .new 2 seconds anim.easingstyle .sign anim.easingdirection .out and then comma, and then what it's going to scale to, it's going to add on to it. So what you need to figure out is like if you want it to be an exact number of something, you're gonna have to like add on to it. So since I want to do 10 what I'm going to do is 6 comma 9 comma 6, and then if I wanted to adjust the position, I'm just going to leave that false for now. And if it's scale by model, I'm doing false because this is not a model. So if I run it, we look at this part right here, and then we see it being scaled. If you don't want it like this, how it's scaling off of like by its position, like it's not moving the position, we could change that. Don't worry about that. What we're going to do is we're going to set this parameter to true. And if we run it now, what it's going to do, it's going to adjust the position now. And as you can see, it moves like this. So now, what we're going to do now is instead of scaling this part, I'm just going to comment this for now so we can save this for later. I'm just going to copy this bottom, go to the top, and instead of workspace.place_by_falls, we're going to do workspace.model. And then if I want them to be sized like this and have it adjust position, why not? And I'm going to have scale by model false for now. So what it'll do, it'll scale each part the same size. So 10, 10, 10. And as you can see, it scales like that. And scale by model parameter, what we're going to do, we're going to learn about that right now. Scale by model parameter, what it's going to do, it's going to scale it like how you have how you scale on Studio. So like if you have a model and you scale it like this, it's going to show like that in the actual thing. So if we want to do scale by model, what we're going to do is just set this parameter to true. And let's have this for false for now, just to show an example. So that now if we look at this, we're going to see how this gets scaled like that because it's scaled by model, not by part. So now to see the difference of scale by model and also adjust positions, I'm going to bring this line back. So let's uncomment this and let's see the difference. On the right will be scale by model. On the left is not scale by model, but also adjust by position. And the right side is not adjust by position. And as you can see, it's not adjusted by positions, and it's still in the same somewhat position by its pivot. Next, what we'll be learning is transparency. So with this, we get a target, which is placed by falls. For now, it works with also groups. So let's also identify the group. So what I'm going to do is do this and then do model as well. But let's also type the same stuff for it. So let's do TweenInfo.new, 2 seconds, enum.esin style.sign, enum.esin direction.out. And then next is going to be the number. So with the number, it's only going to be between 0 to 1. So you can add decimals if you want. You can make it invisible. If you want to make it invisible, you put the number to 1. If you wanted to make it visible, you make it to 0. Barely visible, do 4.5, 4.6, anywhere in the decimals. It just can't be more or less than 1. No, it can't be more than 1 or less than 0. So if I wanted to make it invisible, I'll put 1. So if I run it, we'll see both of these go transparent. And they faded away. But they're still here because they're transparent, not destroyed. So, for example, if I wanted to make these invisible or barely visible, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a default to 0, or to the transparency to 1. And then for the model, if I wanted to make it barely visible or at least a little bit visible, I'm going to change the number to 0.5. So if I run it, we're going to see the model pop up just for a little bit. And as you can see, it's 0.5. And this one's really visible, really invisible because we made it to 1. Next, we're going to learn is TweenModule.Shake. So I'm just going to remove this for now. And we're also going to make these parts visible. So transparency 0. Okay. All right. For shake, the parameters are target, duration, intensity, and individually. Target, we're going to identify the model. Duration, for duration, what you can do, if you wanted to make it infinitely shake, you'll just type -1. And I'm going to do the intensity of 7. Why not 7? And for individually, this will be, if it's a model and you're selecting true, it will move the parts individually. But I'm going to do false for now. So now if I run it, we're going to see the part infinitely shake. it doesn't stop. And it just continues shaking. And you see how it's moving together. Like all the parts are moving the same axis. So now, if I wanted to move it individually, I'll just select this true. And if I just wanted to like shake for 3 seconds, I'll just do type 3. So if we look here, we're seeing that they're shaking individually, not the same axis, and they stop. When they stop, it'll go back to the same position it was at before, so nothing bad happens when you do stop. And if you wanted to infinitely tween but want to stop it because of an event, what you can do is identify the TweenModule shake, which we're going to do local stop shake equals this. And then next, we'll do this, which is task that let's wait like 3 seconds, and then we'll stop the shake. So then if I run it now, we'll see that it is shaking infinitely, and then we just called stop, so then stop shaking. And that's all for the shake module.
Hi everybody, it's Phoenix, and today I'll be showing you guys the rest of Jaylen's tween module. Yay! So, instead of using a TweenInfo, a normal one, Jaylen's tween module has a built-in TweenInfo, and you can pass it as a string. What you do in order to have it pass as a string is you're going to first figure out what tween you'd want to do first. And in this case, I want to do a sign out. So, I'll be typing out task.wait. I'll do 2 seconds. And then TweenModule.Color workspace.part, comma, parentheses, sign out, colon 1.5, colon 0, colon true, colon 0. Then do a comma, color 3 from RGB 255, comma 0, comma 0. So every colon represents a new argument. The argument goes like easing style and easing direction. Together, then new direction. For a number of time to repeat, reverse true or false. And if you want a delay at the end, the only argument that is required is the easing style and direction. So if we press run, our part here should turn red after 2 seconds and then go back to normal because reverse is true. Next up, what I'll be talking about is SequenceTween. What SequenceTween does is it animates properties of beams or their descendants using number sequence or color sequence with easing. So in this case, I'll be using a beam and changing one of the sides, the right side in here, of the beam, here in this detailed model made by our lovely builder for alls, and changing it to be the same color as the other side. So let's get into the script. So of course we're going to do our task.wait. We're going to do 2 seconds. Then we're going to do TweenModule.SequenceTween workspace.background.beam parents 1.8. Let me type. No, .beam. My bad. Comma, parentheses, sign out, colon 2, end. Bracket. Then color equals color sequence dot new color 3 dot new 1, comma 0, comma 0. So when we do this, if we press run, the right side should just turn to red, like done right here. But if we want to make the other side, both sides turn blue, we will do this. We'll do another task.wait. Directly below this, so task.wait, do 3 seconds, TweenModule.SequenceTween workspace dot background dot beam parent 1 dot beam comma parentheses sign out dot 2 parentheses comma bracket color equals color sequence dot new color 3 dot from RGB 108 comma 142 comma 255. That's the color we're using in this, but you can use whatever color you're going to be using for whatever you're going to be using this for. So there was an error. I actually typed another bracket here. So with that being fixed, if I press run, it should turn red. Then it should turn blue, like done. Use this function, though, with caution. The function has only been tested with beams and their properties. Other instances may not work as expected, but will continuously be worked on by Jaylen if any issues arise, of course. End. Next up, we'll be talking about tweening by tags, supported by collection service. Collection service manages groups of instances with tags. So what a tag is in any part, I don't know about measures, but in parts, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see something called tags. So we're going to create a tag, and we're going to call it part 1. And we're going to do the same for this. We're going to make a tag and call it part 1. We're going to call these part 2. So create a script, have your script, your local tween module, and task that wait 2 seconds. So TweenModule.TweenTag part 1. So this will be calling out to the tags that are in the tags are the parts with tags that say part 1, which are these 2 parts right here. Part 1, comma, parentheses, sign out, colon 2, comma, color equals color 3 dot from RGB 255 comma 0 comma 0. Okay. So if you press run, the parts named part 1 with the tags that have part 1 will change red. And this applies to anything. So if we change the part 1 to part 2, it will change the ones on the right to red. Like so. Well, that is the end of my part. I will now be passing it on to Foralls. Bye, everybody.
Hey, it's Foralls, and I'll be your instructor for groups today. So, I have 4 pills in front of me. So what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to start by inserting a script. For line 1, we're going to get the tween module, which is right here. So, local tween module equals require game dot replicated storage dot tween module. Then we're going to identify the group. So local group equals tween module dot groups. For line 4, we're going to actually create the groups itself. So for this, I'm going to do the green pill and the blue pill. So local group 1 equals group dot new. Now we're going to get the groups. Workspace dot blue group, comma, workspace dot green group. So off camera, I've done some comments to help make this process a little easier. So to start creating the tween, I'm going to type in group 1, because that's our group, colon, move. The way that Jaylen made this was there's another way that you can do this. So we're going to do quotation marks. Now for this, it's easing style, easing direction. You can do any one that you want, just make sure that you type it correctly. So for this, I'm going to do sign in. Now we're going to do a colon for the duration. If you don't put a duration, it's obviously going to be 1 by default. There's other variables to it, but this should be the simple ones for now. You don't have to identify the model or object because we already identified it as of group 1. Now we're going to move it up by, let's say, 5 studs. We're going to do cFrame.new 0 by 5 by 0. For this last variable, it is by pivot. Basically, what this means is it going to move locally or globally. So for this, I'm going to do by pivot. So we're going to say true. Now that we have our tween ready, I'm just going to add a task.wait just to make sure it doesn't play before I even load in. We're going to start by task.wait. I'm going to wait 3 seconds because my computer is kind of slow. Now we're going to run it. Now, you see how it moved to the right rather than up? This is because of pivot. So the way that pivot works is it's highly modifiable. You can rotate it, move it, stuff like that. So now that I have rotated the pivot, so the green arrow is facing upwards and downwards, it should move up rather than to the right. Perfect. Now that you saw how we play the tween, this is used for any variables. For example, you have transparency, color, move, scale, shake. All the other ones, you can choose whichever one you want. Just make sure that you type it correctly. Now, for the pivot, as I said before, true. If you set it to false, it'll be on its global axis by default. Thank you for watching my tutorial.
6, 7